here and grab microphone number 3 that say that it's going to keep water out of your house, I feel like you're kind of playing with people's emotions on this beach because they've seen so much go on with water. Take Ian out of the picture, nothing's going to stop that. But then I was like, well, maybe it does work. And then what he did was you told me you were working with somebody on the island, and I can't remember who it is right now.
Jim Dahmers.
Jim, who lives where?
Hibiscus Point.
Have you ever worked in radio?
No, sir.
Wow, he's got the deep radio voice.
Well, all right, keep going. But before we launch into it, we want to ask him. You were.
Yes, I will. I'll ask him about the floodplain manager stuff. So, Jim.
Because I don't want to ask a question.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So where does he live?
Hibiscus Point.
Hibiscus, and so he used the product, or you're trying to sell him the product. And I called him and I said, "Is this guy for real?" Because honestly, if I'm being honest with you, when I hear Flex Seal, I think infomercials because you saw the Flex Seal infomercials, and so you're like, everybody
says that stuff works.
I know,
so
but I'm always hesitant when people. I don't know because
infomercial.
I don't know. I just feel like you want to have a product that you pitch to people on this island that works because they've gone through so much shit with these storms. I don't want to put something in front of them and say, okay, I tried this and it didn't stop the water and I can't get it off my house. But from what everyone said, that's totally not the case. It works and you can peel it off without ruining your house. So first of all, you're a floodplain manager. What does that mean?
Okay. So, been a state of Florida GC for the last 33 years. Built a lot of buildings in Florida. And we had an event. I grew up in flood country, up in West Virginia, and I've waded floods to my chest more times than I can count. And a couple of years ago at Broward Schools, we had an epic event. You may remember Broward County over near Fort Lauderdale had 26 inches of rain in a single day. Most of it in one afternoon in about 5 hours. I was at that time the executive director of Broward County Public Schools Maintenance Department with over 200 schools that we were responsible for. And 13 of our schools that had never flooded before flooded. We had a tremendous amount of damage, a tremendous amount of interruption of teaching and learning and what our core business is. And it was an epic event. It was a life-changing event for us. And it turns out the deepest water we had was 10 inches. $12 million worth of damage in 10 inches of water in the deepest case. So
that's almost $1 million an inch. A little bit more.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Just about.
Wow.
Everybody knew that.
Not you.
So I retired a year and a half ago from Broward Public Schools, unrelated to that. And a friend of mine is the operations director for Flex Seal Company, which has been for the last 13, 14 years, a major consumer products company with products that you're all familiar with that are wonderful products for smaller types of problems. Your gutter leaks. Flex Seal's a great place to go. I wouldn't get on a boat out on the water without a piece of flex tape, original flex tape with me, because it works just like in the pictures. You can absolutely reach down the water and slap that tape on your hull and you will get home. Now, you're going to have a bear of a time getting it off, but you will get home. And I think that's a great value. So Flex Seal has developed a line of products that are specifically designed to stop water intrusion on operable openings. By operable openings, doors, dryer vents, sliders, garage doors, anything that needs to function later can be sealed with these products. And then after the water recedes, remove the product. You can do it on one home. You can do it on 100 homes all at once. You can do it without, and I'm a GC, so I don't want to cut the industry, but you can do it without professional design. You can do it without professional installation. Anyone can learn to do this.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
So let me ask you now. Dave is an HOA president of a condo down on the south end of the island. That's a lot. That's a huge amount of water he's trying to keep out of a building. Now, obviously, we're not talking about an Ian thing. We're just talking about a minor hurricane. You're telling him that if he puts this product all the way around the building up to a certain, how high?
Okay, so let's be clear. I'm not talking about putting it all the way around the building yet. I'm talking about putting it just at the doors,
right?
Just at operable points. Folks, if you've got
let me finish my question though. But when you want him to keep the water out, so it's got to be around a building, right?
You have to do all the doors, because whichever door you don't do is going to let water in.
Right.
What I meant, and I'm sorry about that. What I meant is, I oftentimes hear from people that say, "Well, it's a great product. How about if I put it around that crack in my garage floor that often gets water squirting up?" That's not what it's for. You need to seal that crack in the garage floor with one of the permanent products. But if it's an operable opening, a place where something needs to move, this is exactly what you should be using for that. Because it does literally come right off after the water. That's okay. It'll come right off just like that after the water recedes.
Right. You don't need my help.
I do. So you can see how soft and pliable that is. It's engineered so that the tensile strength of the paste is greater than the adhesive strength of the paste. And I think of that like a Post-it note for paste, something you can put on and take right back off again. If you put it on weathered wood, if you put it on brick molding around a door that hasn't been painted in 15 years, and it's weathered and the raw wood is there, you're going to have a difficult time getting it off cleanly, but it will come off. You use a nylon brush and a little bit of denatured alcohol, and you can still get that off. But the product is engineered to work just like that.
Is it puppy friendly? In case
no,
No.
it's not at all.
Friendly.
We don't want your pup to eat any of this.
Okay.
And you
It's
have
good
to
know.
like
It's good to
follow.
know. In case you get a puppy.
I watched the video on how you do it. You know, like you have to clean it. You have to prep the environment correctly where you're going to do it. Right. I mean,
but it's really, really easy. For instance, if you're going to go around a house, and you're absolutely right, Ed, you got to go all the way around. If you're going around a house, what I would do is I would either grab my whisk broom or my blower, and I would go and knock the loose dirt out of the openings, and I'd go right ahead. You don't need to prep it with isopropyl alcohol. You don't need to use paint thinner. You don't need to use any chemical. Get the dust out and go. Folks, this is a war.
Yeah.
This is a war. I mean, when you say,
can you put that out on social media? This is a war. What's the name? What was the name of that app? I already forgot the name. Of that app.
When we talk about flooding, I just came back from Texas. The whole nation is struggling with things we've never seen before. And
Signal.
Something I said there, people say, but shouldn't you do permanent flood barriers? Absolutely. If you can elevate, please.
So let me ask you, Sam. So if there's a forecast for a hurricane and
or just a lot of rain.
Let's say it's a mild.
Forecast.
Let's say it's a Cat 1 hurricane, whatever. It's a minor hurricane. That's probably not minor, but there's a forecast for a hurricane with some storm surge for Fort Myers Beach. How long before the hurricane do you put it on? Does it matter?
It will work if you put it on immediately before the water gets there. It will still be water resistant. I would love for you to have 4 hours before the water hits it. That's great. If you have only a couple of hours, please do something. And that brings me back to the other thing I wanted to point out. If you can elevate. If you can do permanent flood barriers, do them.
When you say permanent flood barriers, you mean those new metal things that we're starting to see?
There are many different types, and I'm not going to endorse one product, but there are many good professional flood barriers. Do them. Absolutely. If you can only do some sandbags are about 80% effective if you do a perfect job with them. You do them just the way FEMA says, they'll stop about 80% of the water. Do those too. But ultimately, if you haven't been able to do anything, or if you've just done sandbags, please get some SECUR and put it around your openings, because you're going to stop that last bit of water that gets past the sandbag before it gets in your home and causes you heartache.
All right, Sam.
And the other thing too is you have to do, like we were just talking, just our garage sometimes floods. So we could do just our garage door. But if you're down here, you need to do all of the openings. And if you're going to evacuate, do your door out last, because once it's sealed, you can't be going back in.
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely.
I watched the video. See.
So, or if you
I brought the bell.
absolutely forgot something, go back in a window, but do not open that door, because then you have to start over.
Yeah. So, if you have an average, come on, let me ask one question today,
it's the
please.
caulk, and then there's there's paint, right?
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Unless I'm going to get in trouble with Ed.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
I can take care of him.
Okay.
You're
so,
safe.
In general, folks, go to paste. First order of response, go to paste. There are a couple of instances where you could substitute tape for paste. I'll be happy to describe them to you later, but go to paste. And then, if you can at all, the water's not around your ankles yet, put a top coat on it, put some liquid over it. There's a little disposable brush. Get a chip brush and slap a coat of liquid quickly over the paste. And that really does seal, because there will be microscopic openings in that paste that neither you nor I will see. If the absolute worst case, and the water is around your feet already, you can take the spray and shoot spray over the paste, and spray dries right away. So you don't even need an hour then to get some protection.
But don't be smoking when you're using the spray or near a fire source.
Why?
Because it's flammable.
Because it's aerosol.
Okay. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and we'll have you ask them, or I will ask the ones on the Facebook here. Dave, you're looking at me like you're ready to kill me.
Well, he's got a question.
I know. I think we answered Babette's question. Maximum time frame to apply before the water hits. I think you answered that one, right?
Minimum time. Minimum time. Maximum time, you could put it on 8 days before. It doesn't matter. But minimum time, you need a couple of hours.
Okay. And the next question from Sue is, does the surface have to be dry to apply?
It doesn't have to be completely dry. It can be damp. It cannot be in standing water. You cannot put this on underwater. That won't work. But damp surfaces, absolutely, you can put it on.
And how high can it withstand?
Okay.
I know I'm going to be a pain. Usually I have a wireless mic, but I don't today. But I do want folks that are watching to hear your question.
For a first floor condo, and we have plenty of time, we're 2 days out. Can you just walk us through what steps you would take? We have a slider and then an entrance door.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Do you want me to do that one before we answer the one we started to answer before?
I don't know.
Is the other one the height of the water?
The height of the water, I would say simply go a foot above what you anticipate this will be, because there will be waves, there will be splashing. So go a foot above whatever you anticipate. If you anticipate 6 inches, go a foot and a half.
Okay.
If you anticipate 2 feet, go 3. Now, there is UL testing on this product, a half an inch gap.
What is UL? What is UL?
Underwriters Laboratories, a
Of course.
third-party independent, that a half an inch gap, wide open half-inch gap, 2 feet deep water for 14 days. That's on the packaging. You can look up the UL information. That's not what it's for. It's for low-level flooding, but it absolutely will hold that. I've held 3 feet of water in our lab after 4 hours. I sealed up a full-size set of doors and held 3 feet of water, 37 inches of water, actually. So it'll hold a lot of water, but that's not what it's for. That really requires a very special case, because you're going to get water elsewhere in your home at that point. Be sure you've got backwater valves. Now, Bam, to your point, first things first, paste, always paste. Put the paste down heavily. Use the tool that comes with your kit to knock that paste back into the joint. We call it a gap filler tool. Press it in. There's a video on this. Press it into the joint, and then once it skins in an hour or two in this climate, come back over that with liquid. Brush a little coat of liquid over the edges of that, over the entire paste joint, and you will have a very strong waterproof joint, so long as you fill the joint.
So, Sam, you're saying paste, liquid, all that stuff's going to peel off easy.
Absolutely.
And
It'll
not
come
pull,
off just like
it's
this.
not going to pull the paint off.
It's not going to pull the paint off as long as your paint is good and sound.
Yeah.
If the paint is unsound, if it's chipping, if it's badly weathered, the material is going to stain the wood, and you're probably going to have to repaint after you're
And
done.
I think people are less worried
Yeah.
about the paint than they are about having to cut out the drywall.
Remember that 1 inch of water, just one, on an average home is 25 grand. So it's a pretty good value proposition. You're probably going to seal your home for $250 or less. And then if you can stop that first inch, that first 6 inches of first foot of water, you're going to save at least $25,000. That's a pretty decent
Yeah.
value. It's
Well-
$100 per dollar spent.
When did you decide to go bald?
I really didn't get a vote in that at all.
I see. All of it fell out, or did you decide you had like the ring around the back and you
I
decided
I had the monk look
I
going
see.
on, and my wife told me that she was much more fond of the guy who did The King and I.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Or Yul Brenner.
Yeah.
Yul
Yes,
Brenner.
yes.
Yeah, she thought Yul
So
Brenner was
how do
hot.
you maintain the baldness? Do you do
Do
anything
you use
to
sunscreen?
you
I do. I've
sunscreen?
actually got a. So if anybody out there is burning right now, I've got some sunscreen. Raise
Do you,
your hand.
do
I'll
you
hook you up.
polish the head? Do you polish it with any kind of
I've
special
got a
polish?
high-speed polisher like I'd use on my car to
I
get
see, I
the gloss.
see.
Yes.
Have you ever had to apply any Flex Seal on the top of your head?
No, I will not put Flex Seal. Just turtle wax.
Dave, what was
Dave,
your
what's
question?
Be serious, for crying out loud.
If you have to buy it ahead of time, what's the shelf life of an unopened?
What is the shelf life?
Great question. If you keep it in the air conditioning, and here's the important point. If you keep it in the air conditioning, we've never found the limit of the shelf life. Okay? So keep it in the air. It lasts almost indefinitely. If you keep it in the garage, it will fail. It will absolutely harden like every other cartridge loaded, your liquid nails, your DAP, all those things. When you get them from the garage, the cartridges are about 50% dead. So keep it in the air and it will last a very, very long time.
What is the approximate cost to do a 12-inch? Is that a 12-inch? What is the 1-dash? Is that inch or foot? 12-foot slider.
Okay.
I'm not good
So,
with
so
math.
let's say that we're going to do a 12-foot slider.
You married me.
We're
Was
going
a
to
bad
need
choice of mine.
on a sliding glass door. I might as well put this plug in now. Folks, we're working on new protocols for sliding glass doors.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
I hope. Yeah, it's not exactly the 6 o'clock, but right. We're working on new protocols for sliding glass doors because let's face it, that is the most difficult opening that you have. So we're going to tell you the standard answer is you're probably going to put 4 runs of paste across a sliding glass door, and each 12-foot, you're going to come 3 feet up the side. That's another 6. So you're going 18 feet times 4. That's 40, 72. You get about 21 feet out of a cartridge. So say you're going to need 4 cartridges. Each cartridge is $20. So $80. Okay. Plus a little.
There is no way he could have done that.
There's a
Matt.
little can. I used to be a builder. There's a little can of paste that's another $20. So you're going to need $100 for that opening. And you're going to spend it.
That's it.
But it's again, it's not cheap, but it is effective.
I don't think
I think
anybody in
that's-
this audience would worry about $100
Yeah,
with what
no.
they've had to go through. So where were you before Hurricane Milton, Sam? Where were you? I mean, was this product available?
This product was available last year, and we sold a bunch of it to folks who reached out. I even had folks coming across the state to our office in Broward County and buying it from me.
Did anybody on the beach buy it from you? That you recall?
I don't know,
Okay.
to be candid. I can't have that level of granularity unless somebody buys it from FlexSealProducts.com. There are
Right.
folks up and down the Gulf Shore that have bought product.
Now, you don't live here in Florida. You flew down here actually, he had, if you don't mind me saying, there is a celebration of life for somebody in your family on the West Coast that you decided that you were going to come here to speak to these people because you thought it was that important to them.
We do love this area. We actually have our camper over on Sanibel, and we come as often as we can, not nearly
Nice.
enough. We do live over on the East Coast, Southwest Ranches, the redneck part. I'm sorry, folks. The country part of Fort Lauderdale. I'm from West Virginia. You can't.
You can't go into the city after that.
So anyway, we are having a celebration of life for my mother-in-law today, but my wife is there. She's much smarter and better than I am. And they're doing it because she was a 96-year-old amazing woman. So,
Wow. Well, we're sorry for your loss.
And thank you for coming over. Now, did anyone, okay, ma'am, come on down, please. Please, only that we want people that are watching that can hear your question.
For seasonal people, like a front door that faces the sun, we leave, we close up the house. How long can you put this on the front door and leave it?
Okay, so for snowbirds, the product is intended to be removed within, say, a month. Okay, if you leave it for 6 months, it's going to be much more difficult to remove. I want to work with you folks who are leaving for the summer. And please take the brochure. It's got my contact information. Look me up. What I want to do is, and we were talking earlier today, another colleague was here. What I want to do is use our spray product as a bond breaking agent. I've used it in other applications as a bond breaker. I believe if we shoot that gap with our spray, then treat it as per normal with paste and liquid, you'll have a much easier time getting it off of that door later. But I want to prove that out, and I need time to prove that out. We're just starting down that road, but please join me after this. We'll talk about that.
And so you're a floodplain manager, which really I think adds a little bit more even credibility than somebody that just wants to be a salesperson for the product. Like you know about all this stuff beforehand, before you became a distributor for this product, right?
There is a program through the Association of State Floodplain Managers, which is a national organization, that you take a test. It's a rigorous exam. You learn about floodplains and coastal and riverine flooding and a whole bunch of things. You learn to read flood maps very well.
I love reading flood maps.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah,
it really
another
is.
thing you're really good at is directions and maps.
Flood maps aren't about direction, dear. It's trying to figure out where the floods are going to be on the map.
Well, there you go.
All right.
The direction of the water.
Sam, are you married? How long have you been married, Sam? How long?
I've been blessed to be married for 27 years. To
27
that same
years.
wonderful woman.
Today, did you say today was your anniversary?
It is not. No, it's June the 6th.
June the 6th. Okay. So do you have days where you just feel like it's breaking down, the marriage?
I have
like
days
today?
where I feel like I'm breaking down, but not the marriage.
How old are you, Sam, by the way?
64.
64. Wow, you're in great shape. Do you work out?
Not nearly enough.
I mean, so how often do you work out?
Whenever I can between trips.
Yeah. So how many push-ups do you think you can do in a minute?
I knew
Like,
it was coming.
In a minute?
Yeah, 1 minute. How many can you hammer
Not
out?
in a day.
1 minute. No, 1 minute.
Maybe 30.
Nice. That's very nice. Would you like to show us just to?
I absolutely would not.
All right. Just want to make sure just in case. So where were we? Oh, so there was a question from our live studio audience on the Facebook to talk about the removal process for the entryways.
Okay. So the removal process in general on all of the products is the same. You're going to use a hook. I use an upholstery hook. If anybody knows what that is, it's a small, smooth.
Like a shepherd's hook?
It's like a very small shepherd's hook. Great. Well, you are batting 1,000. So you can reach in there. If you don't have anything like that, go into the closet, get one of those coat hangers that has a doubled wire, not a single, but a doubled wire. That's another ideal way to do it. Bend that coat hanger and reach in and pull the product out. Then it'll pull out by hand. That's all you need to do is get it started.
So does anybody in the audience, please, if you have any questions, I mean, how high can you go, Sam? How high can you recommend the product? Because I could just see Dave up there with, trying to shoot the spray gun as high as he can up in that building to make sure nothing.
I would not, but I would personally use it to 3 feet. I had folks here earlier who said they had success. Actually, their neighbor had success at 5 feet. 5 feet.
Why are you saying not make it 5 feet?
Well,
just
here's the problem. So water is about 62.5 pounds per cubic foot. I've got all the engineers here that are nodding. That
Everybody
means
knows that, Sam.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that
Jeez.
means, if you get to 3 feet, you're talking about 190 pounds more or less per square foot. So if you bought a code compliant door that's been tested by Miami-Dade County protocols, that's probably tested to 80 or 90 pounds per square foot. So you're going twice that amount to what the code would require that door to be tested at.
Yes.
It's a severe condition to go 3 feet. To go 5 feet, the stresses on your building are so extreme that a reasonable person will tell you, you may very well blow out walls.
So what you're saying is be realistic. If the water is 5 feet high, this is a major storm, and nothing's stopping that storm. Nothing's stopping that storm. So you don't want to give them an unrealistic expectation about what can happen.
The last thing you said is exactly the point. I don't want anyone to expect that you should go home and close your garage door with this and expect that garage door to hold just because it doesn't leak around the sides. The door itself is not going to hold. The door is going to blow out all the way through to the back wall.
Now, if
And the Flex Seal will be still sitting there.
So Sam, if I'm in the house and I seal up all the doors and the windows so she can't get in, is there any way for her to get in any of the doors and windows?
I will be.
Is there any way to break it into a Flex Seal blocked house?
I will be in
Have you
Las
ever tried
Vegas.
that? So anybody in this massive audience here have any? Okay, please come down if you have a question. Go ahead, yell it. You're too far back. Hurricane door. The question was, what about a hurricane door?
It's a hurricane door that swings out. Again, that door was tested bilaterally in and out to probably 80, 85 pounds by Miami-Dade County protocols. It's still an extraordinary load. When I put 3 feet of water in that lab of ours, the flexure in the walls, and they were really severely built, was about 5/8 of an inch in 8 feet. Imagine that across your entire structure. It's just a tremendous load. You may very well hold it, especially if it's a modern home built after Hurricane Andrew in 92 when all the code came up.
Or replace.
It's remember, the door may very well hold, but the jam may not hold, or your wall may not hold. Again, everybody, please be sure you got backwater valves on your drains, because the water is coming back up from underground, and it's going to get in, and your tub will be full of something you don't want it full of.
There was another question. I apologize now for not bringing a wireless mic. I usually have those, but sir, yes.
Oh,
Repeat that question.
Thank you.
Oh, he didn't.
he uses Flex Seal spray on the gutter,
I
and
see.
it's excellent.
Yep.
And I think he said he has no interest in the business. Is that
And
what?
you even
okay.
got the accent right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So, what do you?
I'm a professional.
This
is not an amateur radio show,
So-
is it?
If anybody on Fort Myers Beach buys the product from you, what is our percentage? Like, what is our finder's fee percentage? Because I mean, I think we deserve something out of it.
If
No,
you-
we're going to get some Flex Seal, and we're going to try it on our garage
Yeah.
the next time we get
Our garage,
water.
we don't need to tell our personal problems here, but we get water in the garage that for some reason the water sits on the driveway. Can I put it when there's a hurricane coming or whatever?
Yeah.
Will you put it on the lip of the garage
Yeah,
and the concrete?
yeah, and then
yeah,
up a
between
little
the door
bit.
and the slab.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's a
Yeah.
great place for it.
All right, cool. And so, what is like one of the?
Oh,
what,
I
I
gotta
mean, what
go.
are some of the prices here? What are some of the like? Can you tell people what
Sure.
they would spend on some of these products? Where are you going?
Oh, they got their,
Well,
Is this a tasting thing,
Yeah.
Deanne? Is this
Yeah.
a tasting? Oh, folks, this is where we're tasting the. Everybody's like, end this show. No, we got a great story coming up. So please, you need to stay tuned for our next story. So this is the tasting for the new place down the Salty Rim. So please take some. It's free, people. Come on, take some. Go ahead. What are the pricing, Dave? You're starting to irritate me with your cues now.
no, he's
Go
not.
ahead.
He's trying to keep you on track.
Go ahead. What are
so
the pricing?
the smaller containers are generally around $20. So the small 9-ounce paste, the small 10-ounce liquid, those are about $20 a piece. The multi-purpose kit that comes with 2 cartridges, small tape, small paste, a complement of tools is $100. The starter kit's $50, but the starter kit only brings 1 cartridge, so that's really to do a door. unless you have just a condo with a door, you're not going to have enough material.
So Sam, the average house, I don't know, 2,000 square feet, 1,750. What are you going to spend?
$200 to $250 is what I tell people.
Okay, so if I want to make sure I have it just in case, and there's not a hurricane for 5 years, should I be worried that, oh man, this might not work?
No, you should keep it in the air conditioning,
Okay.
and that
Where
will
have you been?
then still be usable after 5 years in the air conditioning.
Any other questions before we let Sam come over here and talk
And
to you
Sam's
folks?
going to be over here.
He's going to be over here. He's got a table set up. If you're watching on Facebook, you can't see it, but he has a nice big table with the products. If people are watching on Facebook, Sam, pay attention to me. If people are watching on Facebook,
He wants a trial too.
how can they reach you? What is your email address or cell phone number?
The company is at flexsealproducts.com. That's where you're probably going to find these products because only Ace is stocking right now. Ace in the Gulf Coast is stocking, but flexsealproducts.com is your other source, or you can get it from Amazon. It's all going to be the same price point. Shipping is free. Your other question was,
How do they reach you?
oh, my email, sbays@swiftdrtv. But if you come up, I've got that
Okay.
on all those brochures.
Well, I
and
wanted
on my
somebody
cards.
to type it in the chat box in case people watching want to see it. SBAYS, B-A-Y-S.
S-B-A-Y-S at
Yeah.
Swift, SWIFT, DRTV.com.
What is the DRTV thing? What's this? Dr. TV? What's that?
Dr. TV. That's the nature of the company for
Gotcha.
the last 15 years has been a consumer products company.
All right. Babette says Gavin's has Flex Seal, everybody, if
Yeah,
you
they're
wanted to
an
know
Ace.
that. And
Yeah.
it would be nice to know if the Gavin's and Santini Plaza, when they open, are going to have it, because that would be great. Do you know that?
Is Gavin's an Ace?
It's an
Yes,
Ace.
it is.
Okay, then
Yeah.
it should.
Okay,
But
very
folks,
nice.
one last cautionary tale. Please, 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 if you open up the cartridge and it's not bright yellow, for goodness sake, do not put it around your door or it's never coming off, okay? If you put our original products around your doors, they're not going to open.
I see.
Please.
I like yellow. I like that you picked yellow for the Flex Seal.
Yes.
Yes, it's a good color.
Unmistakable.
Yes. Can we get a big hand for Sam from Flex Seal, everybody? Thank you for coming, Sam. We really appreciate you coming over. And if you want to come up and talk to Sam, we have one more guest that you're